The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. PSPA is registered as a non-profit association and has conducted 40 plus webinars from 2020 and has emerged out of the vibrant and progressive thoughts of like-minded people from the school principals community. It is an amalgamation of private schools principals of India working towards the goal that promote the best practices, ethical behavior, general welfare, and standards of school leadership. Utmost dignity and integrity, it stands as the common voice of the community. PSPA has conducted conferences at different places in India, like Bangalore, Lucknow, and Goa, to bring school leaders across the country together to network, share ideas, discuss strategies. It has conducted workshops in the different places of India, like Bangalore, Lucknow, and Goa, to bring about, I must say, the different areas we have carried forward and reached to pan-India, you can say. And together, they are sharing their ideas, best practices, and collaborate on a wide range of issues of importance to school principals, from latest reforms of educations, teacher empowerment and leadership, to teaching and learning. PSPA at the rate of coffee talks and PSPA Olympiad are the new initiatives from 2023. Now, without much ado, let me welcome the beacon of PSPA, Dr. Ashok Pandey, our respected honorary director, sir, under whose able guidance this alliance has been conducting fruitful workshops, webinars, and conferences pan-India. We can't proceed without welcoming our passionate and simple-hearted President, sir, of PSPA, our lovable RP, sir. Now, let us put hands together for RP, sir, and I would like him to open up this first initiative of Coffee Talk. RP, sir, please.
Thank you, Dr. Savita, madam. Thank you to all the participants today. Very happy evening to all the PSPA office bearers and participants. I'm extremely thankful to Ashok Pandey, sir, for accepting to be the first PSPA Coffee Talks. Though he is busy today on the NEP annual ceremony, he accepted and he has given the time for our coffee talk. This talk series will be continuing, and definitely it will be a milestone for us in the coming years. It will be a ready reckoner for the educators and also the young edu leaders across. Let us listen to the stream of knowledge, essence of experience in the journey of Ashok Pandey, sir, in the last 4 decades. Let us listen, think, absorb, and implement to the best of our ability in our schools and wherever we are into education. Thank you, Dr. Savita. Now over to you.
Thank you.
Take your gun of bullets ready.
Yeah.
I sincerely welcome Ashok Pandey, sir, for this PSPA Coffee Talk.
We all welcome you, sir. We all welcome you. I can smell the coffee brewing on my screen now. So please, I'm so glad you could all join us today to hear from Dr. Ashok Pandey. He is a person to be awaited all the time, because whatever he speaks, he reaches to the heart of everyone. He's a renowned educationist and a wonderful human being. He is widely recognized as an exceptional innovator, classroom practitioner, a prolific writer, and influential educational leader. With an illustrious career spanning over 3 decades, Dr. Pandey has dedicated himself to working closely with children and teachers. Overall, Dr. Ashok Pandey's vast expertise, outstanding achievements, and extensive involvement in various educational initiatives solidify his position as a highly regarded and influential figure in the field of education. I'm sure you will find Dr. Pandey's insights and experiences to be very valuable. I'm so grateful that he is here today to share his wisdom with us. Please join me in welcoming him once again. Let's get started as we have great number of questions for our revered guest. I will sincerely try to take as many as questions I could. And if time permits me, we can have an open session. Members can drop in their questions in the chat box. Now I would like to read out a little profile of Dr. Pandey.
Yeah, Savita, you have already said what you're going to read.
Okay, sir.
So let us devote that time to the next question.
Okay, let me come up with the, okay, then presentation is not required because the person is physically presented here. So he knows what to answer. Let me show over the questions itself. Please remove the presentation, sir. Stop sharing, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Now, as sir has permitted me to do the favor with the questioning itself, let me come up with the first bullet, as RP sir said that you are going to throw the bullets now. So, with such a rich and varied experience in the field of education, you must have witnessed many sea changes, especially the introduction of NEP. And today it is very appropriate day to talk about NEP because NEP has done a lot of things today and you were quite busy from the beginning. At night, you will have the dreams of NEP because throughout the day you are talking about NEP. Do you think the Indian education system is heading in the right direction? I would also like to know how a teacher can cope up with these changes.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Savita. Before I take up your question, which is like a CBSE question, okay? So question number 26, A, B, C, D. There are 4 or 5 parts into it. So I'll try and take it up, but first, give me the opportunity to reciprocate your kind words, RP sir's kind words, PSPA's kindness, in giving me this opportunity where I can share whatever little I have learned in my life as a teacher. It has been a nice journey, as you rightly mentioned, and it journey has been nice primarily for 2 reasons. First, it has been full of learning, and it has been my absolute privilege to come in contact with some of the great teachers, some of the great educationists. And that is how this life has been enriched. Talking about NEP that you mentioned, I can tell, I don't know, I have ever shared it, but some of the audience here will connect with that. And that is the last policy in 1986 when it came during the prime ministership of Shri Rajiv Gandhi. I was a 2 years old teacher. And when the last policy came in 2020, I think I had hardly left as 2 years in my teaching career. So you just imagine how I'm sandwiched between these 2 policies. So, but since I was a very curious teacher and I had good people with me, we discussed the policy in 1986 also threadbare. And 2 or 3 things in that policy were highlighted. Of course, we talked about early child education. We talked about introduction of IT. We talked about classroom management in a big way. And we also talked about educational management as a discipline, because management of education is. So with that policy, and then we did many decades elapsed in between. and then 1922 came. So I'm just giving a perspective because your question demands that India did a fairly good job. There is no doubt about it. India progressed also in many areas. There was a lot of progress required in many areas left. But one thing which everybody started realizing was that our education somehow is focusing on rote learning, focusing on reproducing whatever you have learned in the examination. Your examination marks were determining where you will go, what will be your college, what will be your profession. And in short, it severed us from our own roots and values. So that was the one. The second thing was that the education is meant for flourishing of the human being. The one who is educated must flourish. And this flourishing has got two aspects to it. One is that cognitively you should flourish, and second is character you should flourish. Okay. And this was said by some of the Western philosophers, but it is very well said and ingrained in our own scriptures, in our philosophy, in our own Indian knowledge system, as we call it. And that development of the human being or flourishing has been described as five-fold developmental path. So the first fold is what we call that bodily and physically, we must be very strong. Okay. Which in other words, you can also call it a Bahubali, right? Not Bahubali of Bollywood, but physically you have to be strong. That is one thing. The second is you should be full of life. Your life energy should flow like a stream of fresh spring water or like a current, and you should be agile, you should be focused. The third is that you should have your mental faculties very alert, but your mental faculty is subject to your wisdom. So what is that wisdom? Because wisdom controls your mind. So wisdom is more important. And after that, what kind of knowledge you acquire around you so that you also become a better person, you evolve, and others around you also evolve. And ultimately, you reach a stage in life which is described as what we call anandamay, that bliss, that the supreme satisfaction or fulfillment, which Maslow said as self-actualization, and which Bloom in its taxonomy has said the higher order of learning in terms of your ability to analyze and in your ability to create. So if you combine all these, our ancient wisdom and the Western thoughts, which have borrowed a lot from us, I have no hesitation to tell it. So these things were missing. And that is why the significance of the Education Policy 2020 lies in these three or four things. So the first sentence, Savita, if you read the National Education Policy, it says that we have to harness the full potential of the children, which means we are subscribing to the philosophy of Swami Vivekananda, who said that the child's perfection is within, and we have to manifest it. So that is the potential. And then the second word in the first sentence is that equity, that no child should be deprived of the full opportunities in life just because of the parentage of the child or just because of the socioeconomic condition of the child. And the third word in the same sentence is that if you can harness the potential on an equitable basis, we are on the path to what we call the national development. So if you have to grow as a nation, the education becomes the fulcrum, and that fulcrum becomes very, very efficient if equity and access and quality and affordability, accessibility and accountability comes into our entire education system. So that is the bedrock of the education policy. And I'm sure as educators, if we appreciate it, I think we can take it forward, because the policy in those 60 pages that all of us have read at the best can only be a shlok or a verse or a vision document or a sentence or a paragraph, but its actual implementation will come through other methods. So the first corollary to this national education policy, the national curriculum framework. That framework has come. We'll talk about it a little later. I'm sure you will have a question on that. And then how the teachers have to prepare, how the parents have to prepare, what kind of learning readiness is required by the children, and how the society as a whole can take it forward. Dr. Savita.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. You have taken, I think, the answer to many of the questions which were lying over there. And first thing I must tell you that the best part was this, that in 1986 only I joined the teaching profession. So
Okay.
you recalled me the things, and in my school also, the logo is unfolding the infinite potential, which
Of
is
course.
actually the logo of, or you can say the mission of NEP, how you have to bring out everything inside the child with your processes.
Absolutely.
So this is what teaching is. And you have a lovely cup, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
So it's a black and white
Thank you.
going on. Okay. So the second question is about NCF only, sir. If I would not read out the question, you can just tell about something where this is how teachers would be benefited with this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good. Thank you very much. So we talked about the NEP, and I will just rephrase it, that NEP is the vision or aspiration of our society. So that is what NEP is, if you want to understand it. And then that vision, how it will translate to the next steps, the NCF comes, the National Curriculum Framework. Now, the curriculum framework, a framework, like a frame, and you have your photograph in that, so you have a background, you have your family members, the light conditions under which that framework was shot, and so many things. So the framework completes that whole thing, right? And it matters a lot. So that framework is right from the foundation stage to preparatory stage to middle stage to senior stage, what kind of curriculum we should have, what will be the content in it, what will be the goals that the children must achieve, what are the competencies that they have to achieve, and what are the learning outcomes that we have to do. And this is something that all of us have to understand. So say, for example, if I give you an example of this particular talk show itself, let us say the content will be decided by the questions that you have framed in the answers I'm going to give, isn't it? And this is framed under the Indian education system, right? So that is the curriculum, right? Now, after listening to both of us, what are the competencies? If you and I are competent to share some competencies, what are the competencies that they will do? So the curricular goal is, let us say, Indian education system. Competencies are that the people here in the room, they will discover for themselves how NEP and NCF can be connected. What is the role of the teacher in the education system? What are the competencies that the teachers have to develop? What are the learning outcomes that will accrue to the students, and how it will prepare them for the future? So these are the competencies, competency 1, 2, 3. And for that, what is the learning outcome? So learning outcome for the audience. Okay, today I understood NCF in a different perspective, right? Today I got to learn this, which was in my mind for a very long time, but I did not know it before. Yes. So these are the learning outcomes, right? So similarly, for all the disciplines that we will pursue in the classrooms, they have a curricular scheme of things, and then every curricular goal will have certain competencies, and every competency will have learning outcomes. So that is what we have to understand. So for example, if the curricular goal is that we all must know the connection between climate change and pollution and the collapsing biodiversity, then what are the competencies? The competencies are that we should know who are the pollutants. We should know what are the consequences of climate change, right? We should know how we can restore our biodiversity. So these are the curricular goals. Now we have to
Yes,
disseminate
awareness has come up now.
awareness, right? So now we have to disseminate it in the classroom. The second thing now comes is that what are those pedagogies? So the lecture method will not do, passive learning will not do, broadcasting, whatever content the teacher knows in the classroom will not do. And therefore, what do we have to do? So this curriculum framework prescribes very emphatically that it has to be very interactive classroom. It has to be very interesting classroom. It has to be very inclusive classroom. It has to be what we call, the teacher is not the only source of knowledge. Even the children can also construct knowledge in the classroom, either due to their previous knowledge or due to what they have learned and experienced, and then the classroom discussion. So the teacher's role has to shift from that broadcaster like All India Radio to a facilitator, who does a lot of jumping and dancing and moving around in the classroom, from child to child and letting child know what he or she is thinking. So that is one part of pedagogy. And that will not keep the child only as passive learner, but also somebody who is enjoying the discovering of things, who has developed love for learning, who is more interested in knowing that how other children are thinking. Children learn from each other very well. So if we can create a visual of how the thinking and discussion is taking place in the classroom, children will learn better. And when children help each other in learning, that learning is lasting.
Yeah.
When they start taking interest in each other's development, that is much more impactful for them in the future life. So this is about pedagogy. I'm just telling you briefly. And then the question is that we have been so dictatorial in our entire education system that the teacher decided what he or she will teach, how he or she will teach. And they also decided how the children will learn. And they also decided that we will decide who will pass and who will fail. Imagine this misery that we have inflicted on the children for so many years, far too long. And hence, we also have to think that what are those different artifacts and methods and processes in which we can give choice to the children, that you tell me what evidence of learning you want to produce, right? So this paper and pencil test, one-time test, how it will turn to formative test, how paper and pencil can be replaced by videos, by talking, by a talk show, by group discussion, by an infographic, by doing a case study, by doing a project. I mean, there are so many things that can be done. In the first sight, it might look, oh my God, how it will be done. But I think it can be done only when it is begun.
Yeah.
If we begin it, we can do it. And we can do it in all the subjects. So that is what the national curriculum framework means. And of course, there are some routine things in it, that how many subjects will be there and how many classes will be there. That is a different thing. But the essence of that is that please make a complete shift in your classroom setting, in your pedagogy, in your assessment, and in the manner in which the teachers interact with these students.
Yeah, very rightly said, sir. I can say that the takeaway is this, that now the teachers are not sages on the stage.
Absolutely.
They are not the sage on the stage. They have to walk the talk. Whatever they were thinking to do it, that only their speech will do something, is not possible now. They have to change, and they will be changing automatically when they give this kind of ball to be played with the children itself. So learning by doing, and learning is for learning, not for assessment. This has to be understood by the teachers first, not only one examination. And very rightly said, sir. So the whole NCF and NEP is little bit clear to you. And sir, you have very rightly said this thing also, that the program today is framed in such a way where the experiential learning is happening. They are understanding this can also be a way of teaching. The talk show can also be a way of teaching. One topic can be taken and people can interact like this and understand more lucrative, and they can understand about the little things about them. Okay, so very rightly, sir, Now NCF is also clear. Now I would just ask you a little bit about the jobs which we are going to thinking of, which are specifically the AI has come up now. So how would we consider that? What kind of jobs will be there afterwards? Because teachers have to prepare their children according to it. Where I
yes.
feel the children are more intelligent in this field. They are
Of-
showing their worth in them.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah, thank you very much, Savita, for your comments and paraphrasing. And now you have come to the future skilling. Essentially, what you are touching upon is how to prepare our children for the future. And it has got two or three dimensions, in my opinion. One is, of course, that what are the careers which will be available to them, right? And how do we prepare them for that? And there is a research by many organizations, but one research that I would like to quote to you here is by McKinsey Global Research Group. Some of you would know it. And they did a research, I think, in 2 or 3 years ago. And they found that, there are broad areas five broad competencies that one must have in order to get employed, right? So one of them is that there will be some jobs which will require physical manual involvement, right? There will be some jobs which could be done or can be done by applying only your lower cognitive levels. There will be some jobs which will be requiring higher cognitive levels. There will be some jobs which will involve technology in a big way. And there will be some jobs which will require socio-emotional skilling in a big way. So these are the fives. And the research suggests that between 2018 to 2030, the jobs purely on physical, purely on lower cognitive levels will reduce the employment opportunity. And in the higher cognitive level, technology and socio-emotional skill-based jobs will increase. So that is one indication. And of course, this AI, artificial intelligence, and all the related things, they will create new jobs. There is no doubt about it. And some jobs, it is a fact that some jobs will go out. But then the new jobs will be created also. Let us not forget it. Okay. Because we feared when technology came for the first time 25 years ago. But well, I mean, what impact it has made? People have been employing themselves, learning new skills and things like that. And therefore, I would repeat what you said, that we have to prepare our children for learning, unlearning, and relearning. Okay. And I would top it up by adding that they have to skill themselves, they have to reskill themselves, they have to upskill themselves, and they have to undergo multiple skilling also.
Yeah.
You get my point? So that
I-
is the kind of thing that we have to do. So in India, during the COVID period, some of the companies which are producing motor vehicles, and on the same platform, they started producing some of the medical equipments for the COVID treatment. You see, so whether it is a ventilator or something like that. So sometimes this will happen. This will continue to happen. But my concern with AI is something else. That AI is a tool. It is an instrument.
Yeah.
So like any other instrument, and therefore all of us should know how to use that instrument. Even for teachers, AI will come very soon, where it will help us. I will give you another example of a research, and probably it will be very revealing and insightful for the audience here. By the way, it is exact 100 people in the room right now, RP sir. So you have reached a century. Congratulations to you. So the teachers, let us say, if you have 50 periods in a week, out of this 50, less than 25 periods are actually devoted to interacting with the children. Which means most of this time goes in doing that mundane manual work, whether it is lesson planning or whether it is checking the copies or doing the other administrative things. And I think the intervention of AI will at least save our 10 to 15 periods. And that 10 to 15 periods, 1 or 2 periods we can devote to more number of coffees, but the rest of that we can devote to interacting with the children, how learning takes place, reinforcing it, preparing them, giving them values, emotional support, their mental health. So that is the power of AI, to tell you the truth, right? And hence, my suggestion is that the teachers at least should not fear that the AI is a kind of a monster. It may be a monster in the hands of monsters. Let us not forget that, because any technology does not have a value of its own. Its value comes from the one who wields this technology. The wielder of technology could be a monster or could be a saint, right? So that is why what we have to do is that one preparation that we have to give to our children is that we have to make them good human beings. And we have to tell them that you are alpha generation and you are so conversant with technology and new technologies. I think you have to use technology for social good. You find out the means and ways how this technology can alleviate poverty, how this can solve the energy problem for us, how it can enhance the crop yield, how it can detect people in distress, those who are under the threat of cyber threat or trafficking or whatever, how it can fight the climate changes. I think those are the things that we have to prepare our children for, right? And there will be no dearth of employment opportunities just because AI is coming. And let me tell you what is this value. A Buddhist monk, he was talking to some foreigners in Himachal Pradesh, and the foreigners were asking him a lot of questions, and he said that, can you tell me what is the secret of life? And he said that secret of life is a key which I can give you now. And those foreigners were very aghast. Oh my God, he has a secret to life and there is a key. And he said that all of you, after your death, would like to go to heaven. And they said, yes, we want to go to heaven. And he said, here is the key. And he gave the key. And they were very happy. And but the monk was a little serious and somber. And then the foreigners asked, why are you so serious? Why are you not happy that you have given this key to us? He said, no, I'm happy that I've given you the key, but I'm also sad that unfortunately the same key also opens the door to hell. And then the foreigner said, what the hell? Why have you given this key to us? What do we do with this key? We want to throw it. And then the monk challenged them, right? That look, if you throw it, you lose all your chances to go to heaven. Therefore, the purpose and the moral of this story is that key is the knowledge.
Yes.
Key is the skill. Key is AI,
Is
right?
the tool. Yeah.
But how do we use that key and how do we distinguish what is the good use of that key and what is the bad use of that key?
Yeah.
So hence, what we have to tell our children is that you will get all the knowledge and skill, but along with that, values and attitudes are more important. All knowledge and skill in the absence of values and attitude is a danger. It is dangerous. It is a key to the hell. But if we have the right values and attitudes, that can be the key to the heaven. I think that is the message that
Yes.
we have to give to our teachers and children.
Yeah. Alone knowledge will not do. You have to be wise. You have
Absolutely.
to know when to use that knowledge. So, sir,
Absolutely.
you have told us a wonderful thing with the AI as a tool. I was just thinking that you have made me also clear about it, that yes, the time management thing has come up. It is
Yeah.
with that only we can see that now the bagless day is also there.
Yeah.
There the children are given time to learn themselves through activities and also this is all because of the things that you are going to compress the curriculum but widen up the concepts, and competencies are important, life skill is important. These things are the base for the future ready children. So wonderfully extracted, sir. Now you have been awarded as a pupils manager also, sir. What has been the mantra of being successful in all the roles as teacher, educator, director, you played as an education?
Okay, so this is, I think, one of the trickiest questions that you have asked so far, because it has that personal element.
But you have
And
answered it very
and
well earlier
so
also.
so but it is, I would say, if you were a CBSE, I would have sued you by now, because this question is out of syllabus.
No.
Okay.
We would
So,
like to have your personal
I,
experiences also.
I would have gone to the court by now. Anyway, I will come to this question, but referring to earlier one, this bagless days that you talked about.
Yeah.
You know, the Prime Minister, when the policy was released 3 years ago in 2020, in one of his addresses to the teachers, I think it was around 5th of September, 2020, 29th July, this policy came. So he said that this policy will reduce the burden of books and it will bring the boon of learning.
Yeah.
I think it was beautiful description of this, right? So the boon of learning cannot come under the burden of the books,
Yeah.
right? And therefore, the envisaging of those 10 or even more bagless days is, it is bagless, but it is full of learning.
Yeah. You get full
You get
attention
the point.
those days.
And all those who have, deployed these 10 days, I'm sure your children and teachers and you would have to have it for 20 days or 30 days, and not only have it for middle and primary, even have it for senior students, right?
Yes.
So that is the essence, that the learning, freer the mind, greater is the learning.
Yeah.
And for teachers, I must tell it, because I have been a teacher for a very long time and still I'm a teacher, that the most difficult thing to do with the children is when you don't have books, when you don't have blackboard, when you don't have anything else, no syllabus completion, that time is the most difficult time. And I think teachers must brace up for that, that how can you interact with the children for 1 hour without referring to the textbook? That is something very, very important. So anyway, first of all, thank you for considering me as somebody who has succeeded in all that I have done. I would not 100% agree with you, but I'm agreeing you only for the simple reason that I have to answer your question. Now, as a teacher, as I said, I have had wonderful mentors, right? And I was a great learner. And my thirst for learning was paramount. And I must tell you this anecdote, just to give you a support as to what I thought as a teacher. I was teaching in a school, Mayo College Ajmer, let me tell you. And that when I was there, it was already 130 years old institution, right? So you add 30, 40 years more and you can know how old that institution is. And in that, I was one of the junior most teachers. And every teacher, all of us in that, there was a tradition that during break time, everybody used to come to a place where all the important announcements would be made by the principal over a tea or coffee, biscuit, whatever was available. And I'm talking of this story in 1988. So just some of those who are very young, please don't be hallucinated. 1988 was also there. Okay. So the principal came and then he announced that in Birla Institute of Technology, Pilani, there is going to be a workshop on continuous and comprehensive evaluation, CCE, in 1988. When CBSE implemented it, 2010, just at the years. Anyway, 1988. And I thought, I was sitting there, that there are so many Maharathis, Bhishma Pitama, Dronacharyas, Ashwatthama, everybody was there because everybody was senior to me. And I was one of the junior ones, that somebody will raise hand, so I will not get a chance. But believe me, 2 minutes of silence in that room suggested to me that perhaps nobody is going to raise hand. And then out of my enthusiasm, I raised both my hands, so that the principal can have a look at me and see my enthusiasm and determination to go. And believe me, by raising the hands, I got an opportunity for me. And I also saved the principal from embarrassment because nobody else was raising the hand. Okay.
You use the key at the right time.
I used the key at the right time. So what I'm saying is that this hunger for learning is very important. This is number one. Number two, love for people is very important, and how you treat people. You see, your position should not decide how you will treat people, right? You should never be guided by your position. And one of the very famous leadership coaches, John C. Maxwell, some of you might have heard his name, otherwise you just Google and you'll find he has given a three or four fold leadership lessons. And he has said the worst kind of leadership is positional leadership. Because if people fear you and respect you because of your position, that is the shortest lived and you will never succeed. If you want to grow out of it, you have to start taking interest in the people's development. Are people growing under you or not? Do they feel like being a learners? Are you being a mentor and coach to them or not? That is something very, very important. And even more than that, the people who are working under you, they should see in you somebody who is genuinely interested in the organizational's excellence. And then they join you as a team, and together you take the organization to excellence. And then people respect you forever, right? Then it is not positional. Then it is everybody is giving his ahuti and samagri in that yajna called excellence of the institution. So that is very, very important. So I have consciously deployed it, and I'm very proud of it that I did it. I did not bring in the hierarchies, the positions, and I also went out of the way to help people. That is something very important. When you have people in your team, everybody cannot fulfill all the expectations that you have as a leader, but you can fulfill their expectations because you are in that position, right? So this distinction is very, very important. What we do as leaders is that we want everybody to do everything that I want. Not possible.
Delegation, right? Is important.
But you do everything, at least some of the things that everybody wants. So if you have done one thing for 100 people, you have done 100 things. And everybody will feel that my leader has done 100 things for us. Not one thing for me, but 100 things for us. I think that is what takes it. And therefore, in terms of learning, if you ask me, I think the people development is very, very important thing. The people who are working, they must feel that they are growing and they are developing, they are becoming a better version of themselves from what they were yesterday. I think that's the key, which I learned from my mentors. And that is what I try to deploy. And now I can say how I succeeded, how much I succeeded, that I would not pass any comment on. But as a value proposition, I think some of the things I have shared with you.
Very correct, sir. Now, sir, please let us know, how do you handle stress? How do you deal with anger? I've never seen you being angry, to be very frank, but still, I think the house wanted to know it, that how do you deal with anger?
Suddenly from NEP and NCF, you have come to Ashok Pandey.
One-liner, the mantra.
So I will tell you, first of all, you handle stress when you have stress.
Yes.
Right? You can do a lot of things not to have stress. And you have stress because you attach yourself so much with the outcome, emotionally and otherwise, that you imbibe stress, right? Yeah. I think that attachment has to be very, very objective, and it has to be less emotional. It has to be more logical and reasonable. Okay. So this is one thing. However, as far as anger is concerned, I think anger has got two parts to it. Anger comes out of reaction, right? If a particular, yes, you think emotionally, right? You don't think logically.
Yeah.
That is one way that you get angry, right? So if you delay, I'm a student of science, so at least that has helped me, that in science, we have been taught that you should not jump to conclusion. Your judgments must be postponed. You have to have more information. You have to have more analysis. You have to have all the hypotheses in place. And then you take your time to analyze and reach the conclusion, So if you heard something and then you reacted, it can be anger also, angry outbursts also, and it can ruin the whole thing, It can ruin your mood, it can ruin your relationship, And there is a saying, and which is very true, I know, the most of the problems that we face in life, only 10% are caused by others.
Yeah.
90% is caused by us.
Your own. Yeah.
Because the way we respond to it or react to it or whatever we do it, right? So this is one thing. The second thing is also, which is connected with your previous question and my answer, that sometimes we get angry because we think that we can be angry because we are in this position.
Yes.
Right?
Sometimes.
So the anger is also positional. Oh, if I don't become angry, then they will not respect me. Right? So that thought also has to go out of our mind, So the positional anger also this thing. But having said that, Savita, let me tell you, the person you're supposed to be angry with is also a human being, your own team member, right? I think by being angry, whatever result you are expecting has least chances of coming. But if you take that person in confidence and tell that you have done something wrong, this is how it could have been done, this is how I would have done it, and this is how it could have been better, then that person's outcome has got greatest chances of materializing, right? So I think these are 2 or 3 things I can tell about it, but certainly it does not mean that I don't get angry or I don't get stressed,
Even at home.
but I reason it out. Yeah.
Even at home.
Even at home also, I reason it out.
Okay.
Yeah. I reason because, you are a teacher yourself.
Yeah.
My children, my wife is also a teacher, all of you know it, but I have always been reminded by all of them that in the house, you are not the principal.
Yes. That's very true.
Okay. So that itself was a reminder that cap which you are wearing throughout the day, please leave it there. And once you are here, you are different. So where is the room to get angry?
So I think your wife must be your inspiration in your success.
Of
Because
course.
she is also a teacher and she knows how to deal with own children and the house in a different manner.
Oh, yes.
Definitely teachers are practiced to know.
Oh, yes, of course. I think I have, no hesitation in telling that she has made greater sacrifices for what I did than I made it myself.
She has done the parenting and you were out.
Yeah, you know it, so she has made all the sacrifices, raising the family, the children, her own job, taking care of me. And I said, let me tell you, I don't know it was right or wrong, but my hunger for learning was so atrocious at some times that I'm just giving you our early married days, right? So after my marriage, my first summer vacation, I went to National Institute of Sports Patiala to get coaching in squash rackets.
Very nice. Nice.
Right. My second summer vacation after my marriage, I went to INS Vinduruthi, Cochin for my NCC officers commission course. Right. Similarly, the third one, the fourth one. Okay. So, I mean, not that without her support I went, but I can now at the hindsight, everybody is a wiser man after hindsight, that, what it means to a newly married girl or wife, when the summer vacation is the time that you can go here and there, and then sahab to teaching pe gaye hue hain, they are learning pe gaye hue hain. So you can understand it. Yes.
Yeah. So during this coffee talk, I think the inspiration has also been understood by all, that what is inspiration. It is all when you feel like to inspire others, you have to have the courage to be inspired by others also.
Of course.
So both the things go hand in hand, and you are a man of physics. I can very well connect the third law of Newton's.
Mm.
Every action, there is equal and opposite reaction. So anger can be controlled through this physics also. That
Yeah.
if you know that you are not going to react, you are nothing to happen again, and things will go on in a smooth way. So let's talk about how you encourage parents and community, involving them, their support, and all such things, whatever you feel like to do with kids. How do you involve them also, the parents
Yeah,
and the,
yeah, that's very important, and that is also one of the key pillars of the
and
new education policy,
yeah,
and we have deployed it very very successfully. I was always in my early years when I was a young teacher, and I knew I started my career with a school where most of the learners were first generation learners, and I knew that the kind of gratitude and that aspirational value that all the parents had. So that thing was in my mind for a very very long time, and I developed it into a toolkit, as you can call it, or an instrument. So acknowledging the fact that the parents have a very very great role to play in the development of their children. Particularly, you see, this country has suffered on both fronts. In the government schools, parents have no say at all, right? For whatever reasons. In the private schools, because of the potential problem that we think parents can create, we develop a mechanism, a very clever mechanism by which we keep them off for the most time, right? So both ways parents have suffered. But I think the private schools, particularly, I'm talking about here, we have to first acknowledge that the parents have got their skin in the game. They have entrusted their most loved one to you, and they are paying for it. Excuse me. So we should not shy away from taking one or two questions from them, even if that question is atrocious, unreasonable, very provoking. Nonetheless, we have to have the patience and perseverance and compassion and tolerance to take those questions, right? This is one thing.
I
The
think the
second is,
discussion goes on in a smoother way when they also
yeah,
see the other side of the table.
exactly,
Becomes
exactly.
fluent.
They can join hands with you. The
Yes.
second is, we have to develop mechanism to engage with them. So how do you talk to them, how accessible you are to them? I recently wrote an article that many principals, they say that we are approachable and our doors are open. I said only half the exercise you have done. The other half of the exercise is, please step out of your room and be available to them in the foyer, in the corridors, at the bus stops where parents come and drop, because all of them will not come to your room just because your room is open, right?
Right.
You have to approach them, and
Agree.
you have to be visible to them, and it is good for the children and the parents also. When children know that my parent and the teachers are on the same side of the fence, then they have greater fear or respect. But the moment they find out that these two people are on the two sides of the table, they are at loggerheads, then they take advantage of it. And sometimes some of the good children, they go into depression and dilemma because they can't disrespect their parents and they can't disrespect their teacher also. So
Yeah.
therefore, they just don't know what to do. And therefore, this engaging process is very, very important. The third thing is, we developed what we call the structure of communication. So if a parent wants to communicate with the school, what is the first, what is the second and third? So the class teacher is the first gateway, then the coordinator, and then the principal, or maybe it is administrative issue. So you have got administrative operator or head of operations or whatever it is. The parents must know who should I reach. And believe me, if this structure is in
Yeah.
place, half of the problems are solved at that level. Only some filtered extreme cases will come to you, but at least the parents know that I can escalate it to this level. So that is called structuring, and then there is something called
They know the steps to
understanding.
go. Yeah.
Understanding, the parents and we have a trust. Right now, we are suffering from trust deficit. If we can overcome that deficit and we have that level of trust where we can talk to them and we can greet them, we can invite them, and we can tell them that, look, this is right and this is wrong, that is something very, very important. And the last thing
Yeah.
is that, if there is a cricket team, then parents and teachers should be in the same team. They should not form two teams. Okay. Because the moment we are in two teams, then there will be a festering of problems. and the wounds or any fault lines can be broadened. So my advice is that the parents have energy, they have talent, they have network. Let us use it. All of them are successful people in whatever setting, and they're doing it, and they can help you in so many ways. But if we talk to them only when we need them, then they will feel bad about it. We can celebrate their achievements. We can invite them to assemblies. We can invite them for career talks, right? Parents coming to the school, they also feel very happy, and children also feel very happy. And therefore, Savita, let me summarize it. I have given a formula, and that formula is called QUEST, QUEST.
Yes.
And QUEST is the formula of parental relationship that you talked about. And what is this QUEST? I described it. I'm just telling Q, allow them to ask questions. U, develop understanding. E, engage them. S, structure the relationship. And T is form the team with them. And then you see the result will be totally different. Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. We would always try to keep this quest in mind. And I think that it is the best takeaway. And how we are going to involve our alumni is also a community learning. Where they are the people, those who know the school, and they can do wonderful things for the school. So they also feel like to be a partner in the education system.
The schools who have acknowledged all their stakeholders, teachers, parents, students, management, and society, of course, and alumni. They are also a very, very strong pillar of stakeholders community. And, they can do a lot. And our young children, they look up to their seniors with a lot more respect than anybody else. And we have seen the benefits of it, what value they can bring to their own alma mater, and their experiences. They can help them get admissions. They can help them how to apply, how to ask for grant, and how to get scholarships. And they are, let us understand that they are our goodwill ambassadors.
Yeah.
They are our goodwill ambassadors, and right. Since you have raised this topic, let me tell you, and it will be something which the audience would love to know, that I was invited to Germany 3 times, on total fully paid and a lot of respect and all that. And every time I was given an interpreter there. So just imagine the respect they gave. And all these 3 visits were because of my former students, because the kind of work that they are doing there, their knowledge of German, their study there, they are working there, and they brought this achievement to me, So, I mean, I'm not saying that this is the only reason that we have to respect them, but these things also happen.
There are many,
Yes, absolutely. You go there and then, and I mean, and they come, there was a time at 1 year, I remember correctly, out of 6 or 7 Indian institutes of National Institute of Fashion Technology, NIFT, every NIFT had a couple of students from our school. And then the NIFT recognized us. Oh my God, how is it that everywhere there is a student from your institution, right? So what I meant was this goodwill ambassadorship role and a lot of other things that they bring in is something amazing.
Very right, sir. So you have traveled far and wide. Which education system did you find the most viable to achieve our educational goals in India?
I think Indian education system is the best.
Best one. That's what
Let me tell you. I have been to the best countries and the worst countries. Where best mean that their education system is very well talked about. This also, but I said Indian education system. And by that, I mean that we have to bring in those elements of Indian education system, right? Yes. The problem with us is, which I repeat, some of the audience, they might have heard it, that everything that is there in our Indian education system, we forgot about it, right? And others took it. And then they did recycling of it. They rehashed it. They put it in a different package. And they started selling it to us in a very, very superfluous manner. Okay. And that is what the National Curriculum Framework is trying to undo. Right? Yes. So the way how children develop in terms of I told you the physics, the physical and the that life energy and the man and the buddhi and gyan and anand, all these things are already there. Even how teachers should teach is given in our scriptures, which NCF has mentioned about it, and that is called Panchadi, the 5 steps of teacher preparation before you go to the class, right? So how you prepare yourself, how you unfold the topic, whether you question it or you give a pre-test or you show a video or you unleash a discussion. That phase is called Aditi.
Aditi.
That is the first phase, out of Panchadi. And then you let them internalize it, assimilate it, allow them to take part, both. You get my point? Then they have to practice it, abhyas. Then they have to apply it, prayog. And then you also have to take them outside for field experience, to give them experiential learning where they can express themselves. You give them what we call further reading, further discussion, project, that is called prasad. So these are the 5-fold paths which the teachers have to follow. And if this simple thing that we all do before we plan our lessons, I think we will give the best experience to our children. So I don't think anybody can do better than this. Whatever, you may be Finland, you may be Korea, you may be Japan, or whatever it is.
So according to the Indian condition, I mean, the population and all such things, if we see, then only the Indian education system is best fitted in.
Absolutely.
We have to
can't
take good
borrow
from
it.
everywhere, but
Yes,
we
exactly.
have
I
to
fully agree with you.
mold it. We can be global, but we have to think about the local formalities. And
Yeah,
then
but
only
I
we
will
can.
put a caveat here.
Hmm.
And I know the group here in this room is very enlightened and they will not take me otherwise. The caveat is that this can only be done by enlightened teachers.
Yes.
Okay. And let me tell you, I think the time is also running out. RP sir, how much time we have?
Sir, just 2 minutes I'll be taking, and then RBC
No.
will be coming in.
Savita madam,
Huh.
I think we have a lot of questions. I'm getting the request and also
All the
holdings also.
Okay.
We want
Okay.
Bahubali part 2 also they are asking. So it is incomplete. We are not able to complete all the questions. They are asking for the part 2 also. At the convenience of Ashok Pandey sir, we will take the part 2 also, Bahubali 2.
Okay, so
Right.
let me add here, Savita, what I was telling you, the caveat that I put, only an enlightened, committed teacher can do it.
Yes.
Okay, and for that, it is said in our scriptures. I'm going to recite it. It is for all the teachers as a tribute to them. Guru Tamo Dhama. Satya Satya Parakrama. Nimisho Animisho Shragvi Vachaspati Udaradhi. The meaning of this is Guru Tamo Dhama. You have to give them the material knowledge also and the higher knowledge also. That is the purpose of Guru, right? Satya Satya Parakrama. You have to teach them the values of truth and valor. They have to be courageous. Under no adversity, they should be compelled to make any compromise. That is where the character education comes in. Nimisho or nimisha. You have to be razor focused on the development of the children. And you have to be alert. Or nimisho, you have to be alert to the needs of the children, right? Shragvi, treat everybody, all of us. You asked this earlier question, and Shragvi is the same thing, that you and A and B and C, everybody is made of those 5 elements also, only, isn't it? We are not made up of anything else. Okay, so that is called Shragvi. So treat your children as equal to you and always wear that aura around you of those cosmic universal presence. And Vachaspati Udardhi is that you have to have a very clear, concise, beautiful, inspiring, communicative ability, right? So I think these are the qualities of teachers that we must imbibe, and then we have to study ourselves. The moment we think that the children have to learn and we have to teach, we are doing injustice to them. I think what we have to change the narrative to is that both of us are learning together.
Yes.
And both of us will grow together. Both of us will shine together. both of us will reap the benefits of learning together. I think that is what our Indian knowledge system suggests.
That's what the principals are leaders now. They are not the bosses.
Yes.
They cannot be
Yes,
stick to their chairs. They
absolutely.
have to be with the team, and team should follow them. They should do the
Absolutely.
things what they want them to do. That-
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right, Lisa. So the best thing is this today, that a physics teacher, a man of physics, is wonderfully speaking Sanskrit.
Oh,
What is this? What is this? So please tell us, how did you put the taste in all the subjects and become a multifaceted one? I was trying to ask you a question apart from the questionnaire, just it was there in my mind, that what is that hidden talent, what the students would be surprised to find about you? As a teacher, I found this also a surprise.
I think just now one of my teacher's photograph is displayed before me. He is, I think, from Jagdish from Alcon Public School. Maybe he's also a very good question asker. She might be looking an opportunity to ask me a question, but I'm
Okay.
treating this question from him. And I think I will tell you not what I have to say, but when I demitted my office as principal, some children went back home and they spoke. And one child spoke to his grandfather, who is a retired brigadier from the armed forces, right? And his grandfather sent me that note, which I also posted on LinkedIn, not for me, but for all the teachers and principals to imbibe that. And that child was in class 10 at that time. Savita, just imagine the observation of a 10th class child, 14, 15 years old. And he said that, he made his presence felt everywhere, though he was not present everywhere, right?
Mhm.
He knew all the problems that we have, but he never confronted us publicly.
Okay.
Whatever he had to say, he will call us in his office and talk to us in such a friendly manner that before he said that we have done something wrong, we accepted that we have got something wrong. You get my point. So what I'm trying to tell you is that the children, if you have their trust and you love them, I think they also love it. Only
Yes.
2 days before, I will tell you, a child came to me who did class 12 3 years ago, and he came to me after 2 years. And when generally children come to me after talking to them for 4 or 5 minutes, I will, in my mind, their horoscope will be opened, right? So what they did in 5th class and 7th class and 8th class, more they are with me, more horoscopic predictions I will give them, from the past. So I remembered suddenly that child was the most problematic child in class 10. Okay. And every day he was produced in my office. And so anyway, so I recalled it to him. Oh, sir, you remember? Then he said, sir, you remember this. I'm sure you remember the next thing also, but I want to tell it to you rather than you tell it to me.
Yes.
And his name is Madhav. So I said, Madhav, you tell me, what do you want to do? And he said, after 10th class, I left this school, which I knew, of course. And then I went to another school in class 11. But my batchmates in class 11 in your school, they were going on a tour, excursion. And I requested you, sir, I'm not in that school. Can you allow me also to go? And you allowed it.
Oh, yes. So
And you took a risk. So then I told him, and I tell you now and everybody else here, that the children, when they are with you, you have to give them all the good experiences.
Yes.
If you appreciate them, then only they will know the value of appreciation.
Yeah.
If you criticize them, they will become cynics.
Yeah. Very right.
You get the point. You inspire them, they will inspire others. And this is what I told them, that look, all these experiences that we have given to you, it is for a purpose. We might have taken risks, we might have taken time in deciding, but the purpose of this is that when you grow with great experiences, you should also give great experiences to the people in life.
The respect from them is also greater at that time. They also feel, and your
Yeah.
respect towards them.
Yes. So
makes them-
I think the job of the teacher is to play that role of giving them good experience. It is our job,
Yes.
even if sometimes our own ego or our own reasoning and logic And sometimes we are very determined that no, this child does not deserve it. But I think we have to find a way to give a good experience rather than a bad experience.
Savita
Yeah.
madam,
Yeah, sir.
yeah, we will
Sir
close
has
it in 2
already-
minutes. We will
Yeah.
continue our Ashok Gita for the part 2.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
Yes, sir. So
Right.
would you like to show that video for the Olympiad? We are going to,
Yeah.
after that, I'll sum up.
So since you are closing it, let me thank you, Dr. Savita. You have been awesome and you have grilled me nicely. And whenever we meet in person, I'll give you a trophy for
Okay. I'll
the
take it.
grilling that you have done. And I thank everybody in the room for listening to me. Today is very important day, which I must tell you, the Prime Minister inaugurated the Akhil Bharatiya
Yeah.
Shiksha Samagam. He gave
Yeah.
a beautiful speech. He sketched the entire future of education for the country. And I was lucky to be in that hall with 7,000 people. It is a newly constructed, newly inaugurated International Convention Center, and its name is Bharat Mandapam, and it
Yeah.
is in Pragati Maidan, Delhi. And that was a beautiful experience. And I thought that I'll just share it with you. And RP sir, when you said that 29th we want to do it, I thought that we must do it because it is a very, very important day for the country, 3rd anniversary of NEP. Apart from the fact, RP sir, that today is also Ekadashi. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So some of the people in the room might be fasting, and
Yeah.
Ekadashi is supposed to be the day for your own reflection and mental faculties improvement. You fast for that. And I think no day could have been better for this conversation.
Sir, I think I'm not going to leave you for the second part also. I have a bundle of questions left.
Okay. Okay.
RP sir, have
Okay.
you taken the permission?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, RP sir. Over to you.
Meet again. At the end, I just want to give a couplet. Life is beautiful, but experiences make it valuable. And good people like you make it memorable. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Savita ji. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Formal vote of thanks I would like to pay from my side, as PSPA has taken lots of initiative today, but the whole executive body requires a big round of applause.
Yeah.
They have contributed their presence. They have given a lot of insight for the questions, and they have motivated me to talk to a mentor like you, sir. Thank you, sir,
Thank you.
once again for
Thank
being
you.
with us. And thank you, RP, sir, for being always a backbone and keeping yourself silent, but let the work go on. So you are really a person who snatches the opportunity, and you have snatched it in between and prepared another talk show very easily. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Savita.